Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Good and yourself.
Fine, thank you.
Howdy, Lynn.
Good evening.
Howdy.
Hello.
Austin, you got away early.
Yeah, it was well timed. It was a
Yeah.
brief presentation.
Timing is everything.
Got it. Let's see, who else are we expecting tonight? So when you so Paul, when you beautifully and dutifully send out these meeting announcements, do you get any response back from people saying, I have to clean a closet? Something like I'm not going to be there. I miss
Yeah,
you all.
I only hear from sporadic people. So Austin has been good about saying when he can't come.
Yep.
And our two wayfaring strangers have never responded.
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody else is good. Nancy said she couldn't come.
Yeah. I have to check in with our wayfaring strangers.
Okay.
Gosh. There's Ellen. Oh, good.
There's Ellen.
So we are quorumed.
We are stalwarted.
Yeah, well, these are the stalwarts. So with that, I will call this meeting of Community Preservation Committee for the town of Nahant to order. With us tonight are myself as chairman, Paul Spurn, Nancy Gattamo, Austin Antrim, and Ellen Goldberg, who is busy connecting to audio. Paul, I just have to ask it because it's just, on my list.
What's
Minutes?
that? No.
Nope. Okay.
I'm waiting for you to tell me that you've ironed it all out and everything.
No, I thought that was on your list.
No.
Oh, come on. Hi, Ellen. How are you?
I'm good. How are
don't-
you all?
We're good. Glad to see you.
Lynn, did you update
too.
the grant summary grid, or is it the same one we were working with last time?
I sent it out last time at 8:20 after the meeting.
Oh, really?
I did.
Oh, dear. Oh, so you updated it? Must have been on the 21st?
Yep,
All right, I will look for it right now. Sorry,
that's all right.
I
So
overlooked it.
So I actually have to sort of say officially that this meeting is being conducted electronically by Zoom. We welcome members of the community to attend this meeting. We're under governor's order, I gather, for this kind of format until the end of March. Since I've just sat through 2 public meetings in the last 2 hours, I should have been able to actually cite the order. But any event, members of the public can participate by raising questions in the chat room, and we will then sort of call them into the meeting. Other than that, our task tonight is to actually review the grant applications and I hope be able to come up with our budget recommendations so that I can take this on to our good friends at FinCom who are busy with their work. So Paul, are you able to find this?
Not
Or should
sure. I think I am. Hold on a minute. I think I've got it.
Yeah,
There won't be any FinCom people here tonight because they're meeting at the same time.
this is brilliantly timed.
Yeah, you couldn't have done it better.
Really, I'm genius. Ellen, I'm sorry, you were about to say something.
Yes, I was. I'm here for the whole meeting. I'm going to have to go off video at about 7:40 because I have to get in the car, but I will continue to be present. I'll
Okay.
just put you on speaker in my
Right.
car. I'm sorry
Yep.
about that. It was unplanned and it's the way it is.
Just need to drive safely, Ellen.
Yes, you'll be on speakerphone
Okay.
completely, all hands free.
Great, thank you. So
So
thanks,
you-
Paul. Yeah.
Are you seeing it? Okay, good.
Yes, I am. I am. So I can start by saying that I was communicating with Tony earlier today. Regretfully, he is unable to join us because he is home unwell.
Oh, that's good.
My question to him, he wrote back to me on various thoughts about how the articles could be drafted, but he didn't answer my particular question, which is how much should we of a factor, an increase potentially, should we factor into the Flash Road project in consideration of prevailing rate requirements and, some amount of public procurement. So in the absence of it getting anything specific from Tony, and it's a very hard thing to sort of judge because, as you know, this is a combination of some, subcontracted services such as the electrical work and so on, as well as, materials such as the sun and wind screens, which Dave Aldrich kindly sent along to us, as well as the light fixtures and the light pole. My suggestion, just based on the world I live in, is that we add 20% to their request. So that, I always get nervous about these very specific dollar amounts because I know the reality is that once things get into the marketplace and you're actually purchasing them, costs change. So I'd rather give a good, healthy cushion and be able to take money back rather than have a project that gets half done or people are scrambling for other pots of money to make it work. So that's my thought on that, folks. Stunned
we have a-
silence.
Sounds
Let-
great to me.
Sounds
Okay.
reasonable. If we can fit it in the budget, sounds reasonable.
Well,
Lynn, have we
Yep.
ever given paired grants where one is the money they asked for and the second is contingent? You think that
No.
would?
no, I don't. No, it's too
Too
difficult to,
complicated? Okay.
too difficult to administer and really
Yeah,
doesn't do
okay.
the job. I
Okay.
did the math on this because I'm looking at my sort of chart that I have on my other screen. I did the math on this. And remember, we're only putting the 20% on top of their grant request, not their match. So if we do that, then the recommendation based on 20% could be $47,664. I hate those kind of screwy little numbers. And I would suggest we just say $48,000.
Okay.
So Paul, if you can actually do you want to type that right into the recommendations column?
Recommendations column. Yes, it's just, you've got quite a, oh, this recommendation column.
Yeah, the
right
one
here.
that says
The
recommendations.
one that says recommendations.
That one. That one.
All right. Well, what was that nice round figure you wanted?
$48,000.
Now, is that a recommendation for the grant request or for the
Yes.
project cost?
No,
Okay.
for the grant request.
Okay. So do you think we should change the heading to reflect that, or do you think that's unnecessary?
I think that's unnecessary.
It's your grid, kid. All right, 48,000.
Mhm.
There you go.
Okay. Next, we've got number 3 is withdrawn. We just have that as a holdover. Next is the Nahant Historical Society. Any thoughts, anyone?
Well, remember they gave back money from their last request.
Mhm.
I mean, not to say we shouldn't increase money for them, but the, you know,
I think
They
that
got
they've
done
got a
with less.
proposal for this. They don't have the prevailing rate stuff that I am dealing with these other ones. So I would say that's their proposal and we should fund their proposal.
yeah, that sounds right.
All
So-
right, so what do you want to fund it for?
$23,775.
Okay,
Next is the
Did you
Bailey's
get the
Field.
number? Does that say 23,375?
it's wrong. I'll change it. Oh, why is it? Something weird happening here. Hold on a minute.
You're losing control.
I hate these
Escape,
grids.
escape, escape.
Forget it.
Hey, this grids.
Forget it. There you
Do
go.
it.
All right. 23,775.
Yep.
Right.
Got it.
Our next application is the Bailey's Hill Complex. Since this was prepared by Zach and that committee, I presuming, I should never presume anything, but I am assuming that they took into account prevailing rate requirements.
No, we just gave you exact figures from the bidders that we got.
So it's going to be the same thing, Nancy. You're going to have to take this out again. Or, you know, it will depend on how stringent town hall is about procurement.
Right.
But I would think that you are probably going to take it out again
Yes,
and there will be an adjustment. So I would propose the same thing. Put 20% on top of this. We're just safer giving more money and getting it back later than tampering a project, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But happy to hear from others on that.
Makes sense to me.
now you know how it goes. We were just trying to be like super accurate, honest about what people told us.
I would love to have you rephrase that for public record.
We were just giving you what figures we were given by the people who we were working with.
Yeah, I get it. So if we put 20% on that top of that 38,690, that will be $46,428. I suggest we make that 46,500.
Looks good.
By the way, is anyone objecting to any of these grants? I
No.
mean, I think
No, I think we like them.
yeah, we like these grants.
We
So,
we
Do
have
you
to,
want to,
we have to vote on them formally, and you can decide whether you want to vote on them individually or
Right.
as a group, but we're having a discussion. We're
Yeah.
proposing alterations in the figures. We don't have to vote on that. And carry on.
okay, next
once,
is,
once we get through
oh.
this exercise, sorry, Lynn, I would like to discuss the pickleball application a little bit. I had some feedback
Oh, okay, fine.
from some residents about that.
Do you want to talk about that now, Lynn, before we move on?
uh,
We can go
Yes,
back to it.
well,
whatever.
all right, so let's just finish this lot and then go
Sure.
back. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So then next is the Lodge Park. And I think that same thinking about the 20% on top of their grant request makes sense. And if we were to do that, that would be $28,682. I think we could just call that 29,000.
Did you want to do that just on the grant request and take out the match?
Yes, exactly. That's what I want to do it on.
Okay, what did you say that turns into? 29?
29,000. I just don't see any need to deal with their match. Their match is their match. That's nice.
Okay.
I'm not asking them to increase their match. In other
Mhm.
words, Nancy.
Right.
Okay, yep.
Kelly Green trees. I'm not going to touch this number. If the committee is endorsing this, I think that's a big fat number, and they can work with that. That's my view.
Agree.
Okay, so $50,000 goes in that category. Paul, I'm really making Paul work tonight.
Yeah, really. My fingers are getting calluses. Go ahead.
Next is the rights of way. Again, they're if we're considering this, I would not change their number, but carry it at $20,000.
Okay.
And I think the same thinking applies to the town records, which, based on our discussion last time, we felt were eligible. But Paul, you wrote, I think, a very nicely composed letter to Diane Dunphy saying you really should budget for this
Right.
on an annual basis yourself. So,
I haven't heard from her, so I will poke around tomorrow.
so that would be $25,000 in that category column. And if we just keep rolling down, I don't think that we have any reason to change our $10,000 administrative costs. That's what we have traditionally budgeted. In terms of potential clawbacks, that's an exercise in delight I have not actually offered to do yet, but I will. And then these other items, the next three, Paul, are they're on us, so we have to pay them. So all three of those numbers for the bonds would go into that recommended column.
152, I think.
Thank you, Nancy. Oops. Okay, and then the last one, 52, 850. Okay,
And then the last one that you have to account for is the housing reserve at 47,282.
okay.
And then let me just retotal all of this. And I'll give you the number.
Should be able to get it.
So it's 462,749 is the total.
So
Are
that
you-
that automatically totals that.
Oh, your number is a little bit different than mine, but anyway, I'll take yours for
I
the
don't
moment.
know. I think it should be right.
Well, I just retotaled it, but
Paul, double check the formula. Yeah, so click in the cell where it's adding it all up, and we'll just make sure it's catching everything. Yeah. So
No,
it's
wait.
from, what is that, H4 to 18? Yeah.
4 through 18, correct.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's,
Okay.
where do you find out what it's doing?
oh,
Doesn't tell you.
yeah, no, sorry, I didn't quite catch up with you, so I'm going to go with your number. I've got to make my spreadsheet on my other screen
All right,
reconcile
well,
with this.
we can check it out later.
Yeah,
Paul, I
exactly.
don't think your total includes the first one, the 48,000.
It doesn't include 48,000, really?
Yeah, I
If
think
it's
it
if it
does.
starts at H4, it's not including H. Oh, never mind. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm
This is
looking at
H4.
I was looking at the
Yeah.
application number.
Yeah, no, I think it's okay.
All right, we'll check it out later.
So, but the point is that we're slightly below our projected income. And so ooh, just stop right there. So if you're at 47559, our projected income is 472,824. So we're kind of right there. We still maintain our reserve of 169,000 and change. And then we get to add to the housing reserve that 47,282 from this year gets added to the amount we were carrying from last year, which was $5,816. So our housing reserve bumps up a little bit. Our general reserve stays put. And by the way, folks, if we get more than 70% match from the state, which is, we believe, likely, then that's going to bump that general reserve up a little bit more.
Okay.
So
Lynn, since this is should be a total of where were we? These two, shouldn't we have the old figure in another column?
you could, but I just in my total down here, I say total funding excluding housing reserve. So I'm making it pretty clear that the
Okay, all right.
642 is a function of the 472 and 169.
So do you want me to put the total in this box? Or
No,
not? Oh, leave it the way it is, fine.
yeah,
Got it.
you leave it the way it is.
All done.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm sort of racing for this in a little bit of a way because Ellen's going to leave us shortly. But now we have time to go back to specific questions. Now that we see the total picture, even with these bumps up for the prevailing rate situation, I would say we are in good shape. So let's have a discussion about specific grants. And I think, Austin, you were raising the subject about the multi-use public court proposal.
Yes. As I thought about this one more, I had a couple concerns with two aspects of this application. And then I had some residents actually reach out and raised very similar concerns. And what I wasn't clear on, I don't know if I just missed it in the presentation, was how involved the town was in developing this plan. Do we know that? No.
I don't When you say the town, do you mean what, town hall,
Yeah,
recreation
Tony.
committee?
I was wondering if Tony or Zach were involved in developing the aspects of this application, or if it was just the pickleball supporters.
I have the impression that there had been conversations with Tony, but I would not say that Tony had been intimately, had been closely, or Zach had been closely involved with preparing the grant application and its scope.
Okay.
One thing
Um,
that was, excuse me, one thing that was mentioned, I remember Dave said, was that of the contractors that he went to, that they were people that had been used by the town or were familiar with the town. So it wasn't totally like people from nowhere.
Mhm,
So there was some familiarity with these people.
mhm. Yep,
Okay.
that's a point.
Well, I'll just bring up the two items that concern me and then the few things that some residents brought up. My primary concerns were with the reservation system and the reserving, the signage for reserving parking spaces in that parking lot. That is between the and behind the fire station and Department of Public Works. I just know how limited the parking is in that area and how it's used for, people using the Flash Road playground, the basketball courts, the tennis courts, the field there for soccer, and Little League. And there really is not much. The parking there should be dealt with sort of in a more holistic manner, but I think having spaces that are only designated for people using that tennis court really would be sort of problematic, given the volume of people who try and park there, particularly during soccer and Little League season. That was just one concern that I had sort of thought about as I thought about this application more. And the same issue was raised by some residents as well. And then the reservation system, I know Ellen had asked a question, who was going to administer it? And I think Dave's answer was, someone at town hall would have to do it. And I just want to know if that had been discussed. I know how short-staffed they are there, like all the town departments, and I don't know if they have the capacity to take on administering a reservation system like that. And I'm not sure, I personally, I don't know if I care for that idea. It's always been sort of a first come, first serve use public facility. And, I personally think it should kind of remain that way, because not everybody is going to have access to or know how to easily use an online reservation system just to go, get outside and use the public space. So those were two of the concerns. The other one was with the lighting. There's some existing lighting for the basketball court that was installed probably 30 years ago. There's two large light poles. And at the time they were installed, there's a sort of cinder block building near the courts that had a timer system. So on the exterior of the building, there was a button that you could hit and it would activate the lights. But they'd only stay on for, like a 2-hour period or something like that. And then there was a time cutoff. But that whole timing system is gone now. And only one of the lights functions, and it comes on every single night at about 7 p.m. and stays on till about 10 p.m. So abutters have concerns about the existing lighting and then adding new lighting. And I kind of agreed that the lighting there should be sort of looked at as one whole project rather than just for the tennis courts. The other lights should be dealt with, and they should have some sort of policy on if they're going to have lighting like this, on how long it stays on, how it stays on. And I would like to see that come from the town, really. But
So Austin, could I just ask a question? I was by there the other night. I saw 2 of those lights on. Did I mishear?
On
You-
both
it-
polls?
Yeah,
Oh, I guess I could be mistaken. I thought only one of the polls was functional, but
yeah,
But
it was striking to me because it was quite bright.
yeah, they are. And the system that was in place, is not functional. So they just come on by themselves every night and stay on.
But they stay on all night, or did they come off?
No,
at
they cut
10?
off at 10 PM, I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, the new technology for LED lights is much more tolerable if you are in the vicinity for the same amount, if not more, light shining on the playing surface. So the new lights should be less disturbing to the neighborhood. And maybe now it's time to decide whether we actually do need more lights in the anywhere else in that playground area or not. And if not, disconnect them. But I think town hall should take this as an opportunity to do a little upgrading and save some money in terms of getting one electrical contractor out there to do what needs to be done, as well as perhaps buy additional lights if that's what they decide they need.
Mhm. There's some background noise coming through. It either sounds like your German Shepherd, Ellen, or something. I don't know what it is. Does anyone
Yeah,
else
no,
hear
I
it?
muted myself. I heard it too. It wasn't the dogs. The dogs were making noise, but I know what the noise that you're talking about is not them.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe it'll go away. So these are very good points. What other points that you, Austin, or others had about this grant application? I'm just making a list right now.
So I agree with a lot of things that Austin said. One thing that I know about the light system is that there are people in town who don't like the lights coming from their street lights, and they've requested the town to put these sort of shades down so that the light is
Mhm.
directed down and not out.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's something that the town has familiarity with and could be something they include in this to help the people who are in the area.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, I also had the same thoughts about how are people supposed to know how to book, how to get into this system. And I know that other towns use these kind of, like Swampscott and Marblehead. I know a little bit about the rec departments. For one thing, they have paid staff who works all the time, so they can deal with these kind of reservation systems, which is something like we don't. I don't think. But maybe one way would be to not include that in the very beginning and like see what happens. Like, does it happen that this becomes so popular and everybody shows up, and then we have to sort it out better, or do we just figure out some way, anticipating that it's going to be really popular, that we do start it from the beginning, but have to make like Facebook or some kind of public way of making people know about it. But I agree, it's a little awkward about how to get it going and be fair and inclusive.
Did
And I
anyone
think
read
it
those?
was-
Did anyone see the Boston Globe the other day I think it was on Saturday, front page, bottom half, pickleball, the thing, pickleball, all over the place.
Yeah, pickleball, and the
I-
and the piece about having a partner with pickleball syndrome, right?
Right. Yes, exactly, Ellen. And somebody getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to play pickleball and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
I think to not start out with a reservation system will be, even more chaos. And I'm looking
Yeah, I think.
back at the notes from that I
Mhm.
took from that first meeting, but I'd love to hear your thought. Ellen, you have some thoughts about this. I know you had a lot of good questions for that meeting.
Yeah, it was a very interesting proposal to me. I mean, I don't actually know how to play pickleball, so it's all academic for me. But what I recall from Dave's presentation was that they were trying to head off problems and conflicts with the use of the court, especially from the incumbent tennis players.
Yes.
And so to try and allocate time and to make things fair and to make everybody, comfortable that nobody was trying to take anything away. We're all just trying to, use this public space to the best of its ability and everybody have fun. So I feel like the reservation system, I think he thought it was key in their analysis to heading off problems and conflicts. How does it get implemented? I think that is the devil in the details. You are both correct. That is how does it get rolled out? I'm always interested in that. Like, how does this actually happen? Right? It's kind of high level right now, so it does have to get figured out.
So what I have in the notes from this, because this was quite a discussion, is that Dave said the reservation system needs to be approved by the Board of Selectmen. That there will, that the tennis groups can reserve a block because they're going to need to be able to have their use of the tennis courts since pickleball. That there would be, advocacy for kids and seniors getting involved. And I'm not sure how they plan to publicize that. But I certainly think he felt it was an important management tool for, quote, keeping the peace. And I actually wrote that phrase down, amongst all. So
I will say the one thing that does bother me, which is maybe what you two are getting at, is that having a reservation system feels like it does limit spontaneity. So, you get some kids here on a summer afternoon, hey, you want to go down and play tennis? And they go down and they can't. Not just because it's taken, but because even if they were to play for 5 minutes and somebody else, they didn't know, for example, to schedule it. So it does change the nature of public accessibility to requiring you to reserve things online. So it changes something that feels more structured.
Yeah, that is, thank you, Ellen. That really does sum up how I feel about it. It's, I think just from, I work within 100 yards of there and I see people showing up and using them. And it does sort of have that feel. I think even though
I think I agree. I
agree. The group's intentions are great, and their application was great and Dave's very enthusiastic. I think this could potentially have the opposite effect. If you have people who show up and start playing and then another group shows up and say, we have it reserved, you have to leave. I think that's going to create probably more problems than it's going to solve. And the issue of administration, which.
Yeah. So I wonder, it's not our job to figure out the details of that, right? It's our job to decide whether or not we're going to allocate money to this, and can we make recommendations about our concerns about something like that? If we all agree that this is actually pretty good use of space and it's a way of making public space more available to everybody. We have some concerns about the reservation system because of spontaneity and kids playing pickup, whatever, and just, is there a way that we can voice those concerns and maybe make a proposal that they revisit the logistics of those details when they roll it out or something like that?
I would not advise us to get involved in the details. I think we can actually push this over onto what they said in their application. The reservation system needs to be approved by the Board of Selectmen. Full stop.
Yeah, we're just providing resources.
That's it.
That's it.
I think that's good, and I think that it's worthwhile to note these concerns. I'm glad you brought them up. I think it's valid. You know, when I think about my kids in the summer, you know, just wanting to go down and use either the tennis courts or the basketball courts, you know, they don't plan that. They just
Right.
decide, like, you want to go play basketball, you want to go have a game of tennis, whatever. They don't plan that out. They don't think that far ahead.
Right.
What I can say is I think the other 2 points that Austin raised are also important, and that is the parking and
Yeah.
the lighting. What I can say, and I can feel Tony at my elbow, is that the fourth aspect of what Austin said is this is now putting something onto town hall, town administrator, that is one more thing to look after. And it is quite honestly one more thing for people to get exercised about, to use a pun. So yes, they'll get exercised, but they'll be exercised about it. So I think it does make sense to do this. I just wish it wasn't going to be added to Tony's long list or Zach's long list of things to be concerned about. But I do not think that it is our job to do anything other than say, we recommend this contingent on approval by the Board of Selectmen for the reservation system and its application, and developing controls for the lighting, because I think that does make sense. We should actually work that out, whether that's on a timer, which I think it is now, Austin, for that one court, or it's a timer and a motion detector, so it doesn't go on unless somebody's using it, which is the other way to program that. And then last, could you just say a little bit more about the parking? I mean, how does it happen, Austin, when the recreation fields are being used? Do people park in that parking lot, or they park on the street, or what happens?
They park everywhere. Yeah, the lot fills up first,
Mhm.
and then they start lining the street. And it's usually both sides of the street, you know, for the entire area where that park is. It's definitely, you know, the most problematic when there's Little League games, because you get, you know, teams and families from out of town coming to support that.
Sure.
But also, you know, every weekend through the summer, there's also soccer and, you know, just people generally using those fields and facilities. So, and I don't know how many spaces there are that are not occupied in that lot. It's probably less than 20. So, you know, I think, you know, saying that 5 can only be used for these courts is sort of not fair to everyone else who uses the facilities in that whole area.
Mhm. So what if there was just no restriction and you park where you can?
Yeah, I think the parking should be upgraded eventually down there, but yeah, I think that's the best approach. Just first come, first serve.
Yeah. How do other folks feel about that idea?
Think it makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
So in other words, no changes to the parking?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
And
I
again,
wish,
I think his proposal was to try to mitigate potential problems, and maybe even from out of towners, right? I think that they were trying to be proactive with these requests. So I don't blame them for putting them in.
Yes, I do understand that. And I think now that you say that, Ellen, he mentioned the fact that out of towners wouldn't have parking stickers. But you know, people parking on that road probably, I mean, honestly, Austin, is Flash Road allowed for parking or do people just park?
It is allowed. I think it's supposed to be just one side of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it just kind of spills all over the place. And it's a wide road, it's not,
Right.
it hasn't been a huge issue, but there just is not sufficient parking for the facility down there, basically.
Mhm. So what we're saying in a way is when we make our recommendations, we're taking the parking restriction out of this article. So we would be, silent on that point. I think we would be making the reservation system, and I would say the lighting controls, contingent on, approval and execution by the town.
Yeah, you could throw parking into that too, that this raises issues of appropriate rules and distribution of parking.
Mhm.
And that we hope that a town hall will address it. I mean, can't people park in the school parking lot? It's not that far away.
Yep, they can. There's lots of
So-
parking up there.
Yeah, so, I mean, and this won't be a problem during school hours when the school parking lot has a fair number of cars in it. It'll be only weekends and evenings when there's any issue. So overflow parking could go over there for sure. But the
Mhm.
town needs to address that.
Boy, I just feel the spontaneous volunteering of who's going to write this article. Do I feel that? Hands raised. I feel like I really want to draft this article.
Well, since I brought all this up, I will do that, Lynn.
Oh, Austin, excellent. Well done, you. That would be great, because I do think it is now we get to the wonderful part of our committee work where we get to look at this and say, who gets to draft the article? But I suppose we ought to actually make a vote on all of this before we do that. Sorry. Paul, do you mind putting that back up on the screen since you
Oh,
did
not a
such
bit.
nice job before that?
There you go. So is there a column here for who writes the article?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think last year there was,
I think that
or at
I've
least
got
who
this.
reviewed it.
See that thing, that last column that says proposed action? You can put who's writing the article right in there.
All right, so we can change the title to proposed action, article author.
Yeah, I could say that. Yep.
Oops, can't see what I'm doing there. Okay,
Okay, Austin first out is out of this one, so that's great. Thank you. So we've listed the things that we feel are contingencies for this. I suppose that we could actually even note that in this. It could be Austin, and then you can have a new line, sort of contingent on the Board of Selectmen approval of the reservation system, a lighting control plan, and parking recommendations.
you want me to write that in this? Or is Austin going to make notes for himself?
I'm
do
going to
write
write
those
it on
notes.
I'm going to write it on
Oh,
my,
you're writing it, okay.
okay. Next down, the Historical Society. So by the way, are we then voting on these articles individually, or can we vote them as a slate?
We should probably vote them individually, Lynn.
Okay.
Do you want to vote them now, or do you want to vote after the article comes back?
No, I think I'd like to vote them now.
Okay.
and the drafting of the article is a formality, but I'd like to be able to then take this on to the FinCom.
When do we, when's that hit coming up?
I expect the call tonight. I think it's really, I think
They're
yeah, I
gonna
can
wake you,
feel it.
take you, yeah, all right,
I
okay.
can feel it. No, I would expect that we should have, if we are successful in getting through this tonight, I would volunteer to be before them next Tuesday.
Oh, really? Is that there? Okay.
I think that
Do you-
that's their meeting time, but I'll check on that.
All
I
right,
think they
Do you-
normally meet on Thursdays. They had to
Oh,
cancel last Thursday's meeting, move it to Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
then-
I'm just wondering, Lynn, I'm thinking about my memory, not Austin's. But if I were to make a mistake in drawing up the article that you're going to be kind enough to send my way, don't you think we should have our committee formally endorse the
Yes.
article as written?
Yes, yes, I would say so, but beforehand, they don't have to look at our articles. Oh, they enjoy that. I think they do enjoy it, but I
Right.
thought it would be a courtesy since we've got the spreadsheet to say, here's where we are.
Yeah, okay, great. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no. So anyway, we can
So
vote
you don't
the
need to have
amount.
these, you don't need to have these written before the meeting, right? Is that
No.
right? The articles?
No.
Okay, that's
Oh,
what
okay.
I think the issue, yeah.
Okay, good.
But they'll have to be ready the next week.
Yeah.
Um,
How many
So-
articles do we have?
well, Nancy,
6, I
write
guess.
6 of them. I write on the spreadsheet. Yeah,
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if they were all up. Okay, 6. And then there's, how many of us are we going to be writing them? The people who are here?
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to have people who are not participating
Right, okay.
draft them. So these are the hands, I guess. You're right. So who wants to, so can I get a motion to recommend $48,000 subject to the drafting of the article and its commentary?
So moved.
Second, Nancy.
Okay.
That was
Okay,
Paul. That was Paul who made the motion.
right. All right, all those in favor, Nancy,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Ellen,
I,
chair votes aye, so we're good. Next is saving the core documents of Nahant's town's history, and that's from the Historical Society. They are requesting a grant of $23,775. Yeah. Can
Well,
hear
I
a-
could do that. I was going to speak up for the records retention one.
Mhm.
I was wondering, just looking ahead, whether we would want to combine the two, not combine, but have the same person write the two open space ones for Bailey's Hill and Lodge Park.
Right,
Uh,
and on the same theory, maybe the person who's writing the documents
Yeah,
articles.
I'll do those two. All right, fine.
Okay, fine, great. So, so Paul, you'll draft the Historical Society in the amount of $23,775. It's the article itself plus the commentary. And can I get a motion to vote this subject to the approval of the drafting of the article?
So moved, Nancy.
Second,
Second.
Paul.
Okay. So now this is up for discussion. Are there any sort of special requirements that we want to put into this article? Okay. Stunned silence ensues. Discussion over. Can I have a-
Seeing none and hearing none.
Exactly. So all those in favor of this proposal? Nancy,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Ellen?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, so we're good. Paul, since that was so much fun, shall we just drop down and sort of wind you into the Nahant Town Hall Records Retention article?
Right. So,
yeah.
you want to have, should we move or just have an open discussion first and then?
Doesn't matter. I'm easy. You want to have an
Alright,
open
so-
discussion now? Go ahead.
Yeah, I really would like to get a response from the town clerk about, making this less an ad hoc issue of preserving documents than having it be part of a plan whereby, yes, we bring old documents that might not be durable up to snuff, but that we take steps to make sure that from here on in, we've got serviceable and permanent documents.
So do you want to make that contingent on the town taking care of their records preservation on an annual basis?
Yeah, I would think so, but as a courtesy to Diane, I think I would have a chat with her first and
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
her what's coming down the pipe.
Sure. So I've just typed into my little spreadsheet that conversation is going to take place and may
Yeah.
become part of your article contingency.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay. That sounds good. Can I have a motion to recommend $25,000 for the town hall records conservation?
So moved.
Thank you, Austin.
Second, Nancy?
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, well, seeing and hearing none, let's proceed to the vote. Nancy,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
chair votes yes.
Um,
Right,
can I raise one question?
sure.
So the question is about our asking them to maintain the records on an annual basis. So there has to be a difference though between what they're having done and what they're capable of doing themselves. So isn't that right? Like, are we asking them to preserve historic records regularly? Do they know how to do that?
So let me just point out that this is for records from 1970 to present. These are not ancient records. So,
Right.
in the brief conversation I had with Diane about this, I said, hey, why don't you use acid-free paper now?
Okay. Yeah.
So it was a little bit of that kind of thing, because
Yeah.
I just feel like, to me, it's one thing to preserve records that are old and, bound and on pulp paper and all this kind of thing, versus actually what I think is the housekeeping that town hall should be doing of their own records.
I think the proposal also digitizes those records, and that seems like something that could be done moving forward.
Yeah, it could, but digitizing these records means actually, in terms of modern digital work, is running them through a copier.
Right.
And,
That's really all
creating
it takes.
that's all it takes,
That's right.
So if you've got good paper, just to start with. So I don't know, maybe we don't know enough about how they take care of their records and what the issues are. But I think we're sort of saying, don't actually make this a CPC burden when it could be, in fact, just part of what town hall ought to be doing themselves.
Right.
Is there anyone that we could refer her to say, this is the way it's done, since they may not know.
Well, they already have a records consultant, the
Okay.
same firm that worked with them on the conservation before, and I would think they'd be able to advise them now. But that's a good point, Nancy. You know, maybe it's a different discipline. Maybe. But Paul, if you can just have a conversation with Diane about this, you know, we want to be, you know, we're advocates for care.
Right,
We just,
exactly right.
yeah, yeah.
By the way, this column, which is very empty, has a interesting title. It says, based on CPC meeting date. Does that mean I should put tonight's date? Is this?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're
That's what I
voting it
thought.
tonight.
That's what I thought.
Isn't this so much fun? I mean, things to fill out and write live.
Yeah,
Right in
exactly.
front of us.
All right. So this, I don't know what this column is going to do with numbers. So let's try it this way. This is,
Well, it's just going to be the date.
yeah, well, if you put a date in and it's a grid, you never know what it's going to do with it. So this is 2/28, 2023.
Well, mine just was perfect. And it
It
should be
did.
the same for yours.
It did. It worked. Okay, good.
Excellent. Okay. So we just can add that now to the Historical Society and to the town records. But, you know, Lynn, you know, trying to move this meeting along is going to go back to the Open Space Committee's 2 articles. So we have in front of us now the adjusted amount for the Bailey's Hill complex of proposing $46,500 for this East Slope Restoration Project. So is there any discussion about this before we move on to a vote? Well, seeing and hearing no discussion, can I ask for a vote on this article?
So
We-
moved.
Okay.
Okay.
We haven't picked a writer yet, have we?
No, we haven't, but we're going to do that next.
Oh, I see. You've changed the order on us.
I
Okay.
know. Well, you know, I just got to, otherwise everybody's going to fall asleep. So,
Okay.
so I think I'm actually, now you got me off track, Paul. So no, I am
sorry.
going to ask for a volunteer.
Well, I'd be happy to do both of those.
That is a wonderful, wonderful way of coming to a quick thing. So are there any special requirements or contingencies that we would ask of the applicant, which is the town of Nahant, through the Open Space Committee?
We know that it has to go out to bid certain sections of it because of the money, but I don't think that's something we need to state in our thing.
I think you're right, Nancy. We don't need to state that.
Okay.
So. Well, with Nancy graciously volunteering to write this article, can I get a vote? I think now I've lost my rhythm. Have I already asked for the vote on this yet?
Yeah, and I said
There-
yes.
There was a
Okay, great.
motion. I'll second Nancy's
Okay.
motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Austin. So, and Nancy has kindly agreed to draft this article. So with that vote, all those in favor of the 46,500 for this article? Nancy,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
chair votes yes. So we're good. Now we jump on to the next one, which is the implementation of the Lodge Park Management and Restoration Plan. And we had agreed to raise this amount to 29,000 to cover the public procurement aspect of this. do I have, and Nancy has volunteered to draft this article as well, which is great. So can I hear a motion for this article?
I'll make a motion to fund the implementation of the Lodge Park. You moved it on me, Paul. Et cetera, for the amount of $29,000.
Okay, thank you. Have I got a second?
I'll
second.
second it.
Okay,
Paul seconded this time.
okay. Okay, any further discussion on this article? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of $29,000 for Lodge Park implementation? Nancy,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Ellen?
Aye.
Chair votes yes, we're good. Next is Kelly Green's trees. This is a tree planting article. Under the open space category, the application was from the town of Nahant for $50,000. Is there anyone who is raising their hand to draft this article?
I can take this one on as well.
I was going to say, I feel compelled.
Have
If
at
you
it.
have at it, okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that one. All right, so Lynn has volunteered to do that one. Can I get a motion for this article?
So moved, Nancy.
Second?
Second, Austin.
Okay. Any further discussion about this article recommending $50,000 for tree planting at Kelly Greens? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor? Nancy,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
chair votes yes, we're good. The last one on our list is the rights of way, continued documentation and recovery from the town of Nahant for $20,000. This is a continuing program. And I will be happy to draft this article. Since I think I drafted the last 3 times they were at it, so. Lynn has volunteered to draft it. Can I hear a vote to recommend this article for $20,000 for the rights of way documentation and recovery?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, jump at it. Can I get a second?
Second, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy. Any further discussion about this article? Seeing and hearing none, can I hear let's do a roll call votes in favor of $20,000 for the rights of way. Nancy,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Austin,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
chair votes yes. Okay, we're done reviewing the new applications. So the articles down below, I think, are really housekeeping. So I don't necessarily think we have to vote them.
Who is,
Um,
I'm sorry, I missed. Who's writing the article on Kelly Green's trees?
Lynn Spencer.
Lynn
No, she-
Spencer.
You're doing rights away.
She's doing 2.
True.
Oh,
We each
two.
are doing 2.
I see, okay.
Austin's doing the most difficult one, and so that counts as 2. That's the way I
Yeah.
look at it.
And you see the grid is being rude here. It's not letting me type in the date. It's got its own rules for what it lets you type in this box. I don't know.
You know,
what
this
it's-
happens so often with these Excel spreadsheets. There's some gremlin in there.
There's a gremlin. You got it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Paul. We'll just have to, I don't know.
I don't know what its little problem is.
We just have to have faith that something, well, I'll have Kat fix it is what
Okay,
is
great.
what will
Okay,
happen.
there you go.
So I guess the housekeeping articles I will just draft because they're quite honestly, they're old ones that I'll sort of pull up from our past. But this, oh, Paul, I actually fixed it on mine.
How'd you do it?
I actually copied from
I
the
tried
previous-
that.
Well, it's all right. It's all right. I'm going to send this one out.
Okay.
So these housekeeping articles on the administration as well as the bonds, I will just draft up. And I think, quite honestly, that should do it.
Should we meet again briefly next Tuesday? Just
Well,
to confirm that the articles are the way everybody expected them to be?
well, you know, it would really be A++.
Yeah,
It's
let's
something I was
circulate
just
them.
going to ask about.
A++
Yeah,
would be to be able to
Plus,
have
plus,
the
I already know
article.
where it's. Yeah. Do
Oh,
you
wait,
want
Ellen,
me? Do you
Ellen,
want?
Ellen, you know what
Yeah.
happened? You didn't get on the screen and, you know, I just saw the pink E and you didn't get any. Oh, this is like going to a birthday party and not getting a cupcake, honestly.
I'm sure she feels that way.
Ellen, I feel so, I don't want to leave you out.
No, wait a minute. Ellen and Nancy spent so much time trying
Yes,
to
we
get
did.
our website
Oh, that's
functional,
true.
that they have paid their
but-
dues. And Lynn, no one works as much as you do. So
Oh, no, no.
we can't even this out, and there's no need to. Everybody's pitching in.
Right, but you know what Ellen
Well-
is brilliant at? Oh, Ellen, are you volunteering to do something? I'll keep quiet.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask if you wanted people to send them to me so that I could have them in one document for review next time.
Yes, and you can do all the proofreading and copy editing
Yeah.
that your heart desires.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
That-
So should we say, can people? So we want to review these next Tuesday night, right?
That would be so wonderful because then I could with confidence go to FinCom.
Yeah.
So then could I ask everybody to send me your articles by Monday night and I'll put them into one document to circulate so that you don't have six attachments to your email. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
You could even ask for it sooner.
If you can get it to me over the weekend, I'm
Yep.
sure, you
Yep.
know, we could
Let's
have it
try
by
that.
like Sunday, Sunday, I could deal with it Sunday night.
Yep. Let's do that.
Okay. And I'll take a look and see what like the format was from last time, although I think I got a bigger chunk of the FinCom document last time.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, with like some charts that needed to be reformatted and stuff. So I'm not going to worry about that. Just let's focus on the articles for Sunday. And we'll get them all in one document and in the same font and, format.
Mhm. Okay, so then we would actually, I don't know, had you posted a meeting, Paul, for the
Yeah,
7th?
we have a meeting for the 7th, and we have one for the 14th, and we have one for the 21st.
Okay. Well, gosh, we could come dangerously close to getting to the end on this, folks. So,
Yep.
okay, well, we all have our assignments. And I think with that, I'll ask if there's any further business.
Nope. Move to
None from
adjourn.
me.
Nope, there's nothing in the chat other than Ellen told us she was going off video. So I think I heard a motion to adjourn. Did I hear a second?
Second, Nancy.
Okay. All those in favor, Nancy,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Austin,
I
Ellen,
Aye.
chair votes yes. We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Thanks.
Good night,
See you all
everybody.
next week. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye
night.
now.
Thank you.